6:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Dilini Gunawardena and read by Geethanjali Ramanayaka. The headlines. Election Expenditure Bill debated in Parliament tomorrow. Accepting of nominations for the upcoming local government elections begins. A social security fund is established for the employees who do not benefit from the ETF and the EPF. The Election Committee assures Supreme Court that local government elections will be held on time. Foreign news, Ukraine's interior minister among at least 18 killed in helicopter crash. Sports, tennis, Rafael Nadal's Australian Open title defense is over after a second round defeat. News in detail. The leader of political parties have decided to debate the regulation of election expenditure bill in Parliament tomorrow. The decision was taken at the party leaders' meeting held this afternoon, chaired by President Ranil Wickremesinghe. Bill of the Rehabilitation Bureau was taken into debate at the Parliament today. The bill was passed with a majority of 13 votes at the Parliament today. 23 votes were given in favour of the bill, while 6 votes were given against it. Minister of Justice Vijaydas Rajapaksa commenced the debate saying the bill aims at facilitating rehabilitation of those who are addicted to drugs. This gives an opportunity to rehabilitate them properly and to socialize them. This will enable to rehabilitate those who voluntarily ask to be rehabilitated without producing them in the courts. MP Harini Amarasuriya pointed out the issues in the prevailing rehabilitation procedure. They should be rectified, but some facts in the bill are not acceptable and it does not solve the issues at hand. Joining the debate, Minister Ali Sabri emphasized the need of a procedure to rehabilitate those who are engaged in extremist activities. He added that if it is unfair to define this narrow-mindedly. The loan granted by the IMF will not suffice to solve all problems faced by the country. Hard decisions will have to be taken in order to the country to move forward. The taxation procedure of the country should be formalized. 522 state entrepreneur bodies have been established in the country. 52 bodies out of them are loss-making. The loss of these bodies during the first trimester of the previous year was $933 billion. Therefore, everyone should get together to overcome these problems. MP Rauf Hakim said that the government's attempt to rehabilitate only those who are required by the government is not acceptable. An international recognized procedure should be followed in this regard. He further said that this bill should be reanalyzed. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Accepting of nominations for the upcoming local government election began at 8:30 a.m. today. Accordingly, nominations will be accepted until 12 p.m. on January 21st. The Commissioner General of Elections, Saman Sriratnayaka, stated that the date for the LG election would be announced on January 21st after concluding the acceptance of nominations. Meanwhile, accepting election deposits of the candidates began on January 4th and will continue until 12 p.m. on January 20th. It is reported that a total of 29 political parties and 52 independent groups have placed deposits for the LG election between 8:30 a.m. and 4:15 p.m. yesterday. A social security fund is established for the employees who do not benefit from the Employees Trust Fund and the Employees Provident Fund. The Commissioner General of Labour, Prabhat Chandrakirti, said that discussions have already been held in this regard. 60% of the labour force of the country are engaged in informal employment in which they are not covered by the labour laws. This Social Security Fund aims at benefiting those workers. Guidance of the International Labour Organization has been obtained in this regard. Department of Labour will be digitalized in order to implement this program. He added that grants have been allocated for this program. The chairman and members of the Election Commission assured the Supreme Court again today that the local government election will be held on time as per the Local Authorities Elections Act and the relevant regulations. The assurance was given to the Supreme Court by President's Counsel SLBC on behalf of the chairman and the members of the Election Commission. President's Counsel Ramesh De Silva and Sandeepa Jayawadena, along with other senior counsels appearing for the interests of MPs Dayasiri Jayasekara, Lakshman Kiriyalla, Andhra Pradarshani Appa, M.A. Sumandiran, Ranjit Madhuma Bandara and Professor G.L. Peris informed the court that it is their expectation that the Election Commission will hold the local government elections on time as planned. Retired Sri Lanka Army Colonel W.M.R. Vijayasundara had filed an application in the Supreme Court seeking a writ order invalidating the preparations that are being made for the local government election. The petition that was filed seeking to quash the aforementioned petition as well as petitions filed by intermediaries was called up for presence of Supreme Court Justices Priyantha Jayawadena, S. Ture Raja and P. Padma Surasena. After considering the facts presented by all parties, the bench decided to call for petition once again for consideration on the 10th of February 2023. One person was injured following a shooting in 6th Lane, Kotahena today. Two suspects on a motorbike opened fire at the victim's car at about 1:30 p.m., police said. A person inside the vehicle at the time was injured. The victim is currently being treated at the National Hospital in Colombo. The Kotahena police are carrying out further investigations into the incident. And that ends local news for now.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The President's Media Division says, in support of the government's National Integrated Mechanism for Food Security and Nutrition, Fonterra has provided free milk powder to 70,000 low-income families. Joining the National Integrated Mechanism for Food Security and Nutrition program set up under the patronage of President Ranil Wickremesinghe, Fonterra Brands Lanka Company has donated milk powder worth 174 million rupees to 70,000 low-income families experiencing financial hardships. The donation was made symbolically at the President's office yesterday with the participation of New Zealand High Commissioner Michelle Appleton and group of New Zealand representatives. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
In Watchlight this evening, the re-corrected results of the GC Ordinary Level Examination 2022 have been released by the Department of Examinations. The Commissioner General of Examinations stated that these results could be obtained via the official website of the department, www.donets.lk. 27,012 applicants had applied for re-corrections, and that came to you in Watchlight.
Coming up, World News.
In the headlines, Ukraine's Interior Minister among at least 18 killed in helicopter crash. The UN says there was an alarming rise in the number of Rohingya refugees lost at sea during last year. And Philippines' Maria Ressa acquitted of tax evasion. The three main figures in Ukraine's Interior Ministry have been killed in a helicopter crash beside a nursery in an eastern suburb of the capital Kyiv. Interior Minister Denis Monastresky, 42, died alongside his first Deputy Minister and State Secretary. 9 people were killed when the helicopter came down in Brovary and another 9 died on the ground, including 3 children. The minister is the highest profile Ukrainian casualty since the war began. There is no indication the crash was anything other than an accident. The UN says there was an alarming rise in the number of Rohingya refugees lost at sea fleeing their Myanmar homeland or Bangladesh last year, warning more would die without concerted action. The United Nations Refugee Agency reported more than 3,500 Rohingya attempted sea crossings in 2022. UN spokeswoman Shabia Mantu said most boats have departed from Myanmar and Bangladesh. She added that are victims of trafficking, unaccompanied and separated children and survivors of sexual and gender-based violence among the refugees. Philippines Nobel laureate Maria Ressa and her online news outlet Rappler have been acquitted of tax evasion. She told reporters these charges are politically motivated, a brazen abuse of power and meant to stop journalists from doing their jobs. If convicted of 4 tax evasion charges, she would have faced 34 years in jail. And back to the headlines of the world news. Ukraine's interior minister among at least 18 killed in helicopter crash. The UN says there was an alarming rise in the number of Rohingya refugees lost at sea during last year. And Philippines' Maria Ressa acquitted of tax evasion. That ends World News.
Development News.
Aiming to foster entrepreneurial mindsets among school children in Sri Lanka, the International Labour Organization, in collaboration with the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, launched the inaugural School Entrepreneurship Day recently. Designed to coincide with the Global Entrepreneurship Week annually, the inaugural E-Day, conducted at Yashodhara Devi Balika Vidyalaya in Kampha district, was an initiative of ILO South Asian Leadership in Entrepreneurship Program, of which the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce is the principal implementing partner. It seeks to facilitate a change in the entrepreneurial ecosystem and bolster young people's transition into the entrepreneurial world. And that was Development News.
Sports News is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
In sports, it's tennis news. Rafael Nadal's Australian Open title defense is over after a second-round defeat by American Mackenzie McDonald, in which he struggled with an injury. The Spaniard 36 was trailing by a set and a break when he pulled up with what appeared to be a hip problem. He took a medical timeout towards the end of the second set and continued with the match, but ultimately slipped to a 6-4, 6-3, 7-5 defeat. And that was Sports News.
Go ekak tiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගින හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
A pioneering life insurer, Jana Shakti Life, won the coveted Gold Award in the insurance category at CA Sri Lanka Tax Awards 2022, organized by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Sri Lanka. Jana Shakti Life was also recently recognized globally as the Best Life Insurer Sri Lanka 2022 for the first time. Its island-wide network of 75-plus branches enable people from all walks of life to access its unique insurance solutions. And that was Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak tiyana youth එකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු ගින හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
In economic news, Cabinet spokesman Bandula Gunawardena said a committee will be set up to oversee the setting up of a single agency for foreign investment and export promotions. The proposal was presented by President Ranil Wickremesinghe. According to the budget for 2023, the Export Development Board and the Board of Investment are to be merged into a single agency. The Cabinet of Ministers approved the proposal to appoint a supervisory committee to manage and guide the activities of the establishment of the said agency. And that was economic news.
Weather Report.
Showers or thunder showers will occur at a few places in the western, Sabaragamu and Nuwa provinces and in the Galle and Mathura district during the afternoon or night. A few showers may occur in the southern province in the morning too. Mainly fair weather will prevail elsewhere over the island. And that was the weather report, and before we conclude this news broadcast, the headlines once again. Election expenditure bill to be debated in Parliament tomorrow. Accepting of nominations for the upcoming local government elections begins. A social security fund is established for the employees who do not benefit from the ETF and EPF. The election committee assures Supreme Court that local government elections will be held on time. Foreign news, Ukraine's interior minister among at least 18 killed in helicopter crash. And in sports news, it's tennis. Rafael Nadal's Australian Open title defense is over after a second round defeat. And with that, we end this news broadcast from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.